Will artificial intelligence replace us? It's a question that feels like it's ripped straight out of a sci-fi movie. But let's be real, it's become one of the most urgent and kind of unsettling questions of our time. So let's dive right into this and unpack what some of the smartest people out there are actually saying. Just imagine for a second. You wake up, you check your phone, and you see this notification. Wow. It's a total gut punch, right? This isn't some far-off fantasy. It's a scenario that just crystallizes the anxiety a lot of us are feeling. This really is the emotional core of the whole AI debate, that deep fear of being made obsolete. But as jarring as a message like that is, the conversation can't just stop there. It's not enough. We have to look past the immediate economic shock to something much, much deeper about who we are. And here it is. This is the real question we're digging into today. If AI can replace us, not just in our jobs, but in most of the things we do, then what's left? What do we do with ourselves? See, this reframes the whole discussion. It's not about technology anymore. It's about human purpose. Okay, so to really get to the bottom of that question, we have to start with the biggest, most, let's say, existential scenario on the table. We're going to tackle the theory of superintelligence and what it could mean for humanity itself. And that leads us straight to the work of a philosopher named Nick Bostrom. Now, he argues that we are potentially creating something that is far more intelligent than we are, what he calls a superintelligence. And if we actually do that, the whole conversation about losing our jobs might just become a tragically minor footnote. This question right here is the absolute heart of Bostrom's argument. It's not about malice or, evil robots taking over. It's a simple, logical problem of control. If you create a system that can outthink you in every single way, how on earth do you make sure it stays aligned with your goals? He calls this the control problem. So the crucial point here, it's not about stopping some kind of movie plot. It's about the very real challenge of programming values into a system so advanced it could interpret our instructions in completely unexpected, maybe even catastrophic ways, all while trying to do what we asked. Bostrom's theory forces us to face this incredibly difficult trade-off. Just think about it. Imagine an AI that could cure every disease, solve climate change. The potential upside is enormous, right? But what if there's even a tiny, say 1%, chance that we lose control and it leads to our extinction? Is that a risk we're willing to take? Okay, let's pull back from the edge of extinction for a minute and focus on something much more immediate, much more tangible, the future of our jobs and our economy. Now, what's so interesting here is how this slide frames the two big economic viewpoints. On one side, you've got economist Daniel Susskind. He basically says, look, this time it's different. AI isn't just automating muscle, it's automating the mind. Machines are becoming substitutes for us. But then on the other side, you have economist David Otter, who points out that historically, technology has always been a complement. Yeah, it destroys some jobs, but it always creates new, often better ones in the process. So if Susskind is right, and we really are heading toward a world without work, he warns about these three major problems. First, massive inequality, because all the wealth is going to flow to the owners of the AI. Second, a really dangerous concentration of political power. And third, we're back to that question we started with, a crisis of meaning. If work isn't central to our lives anymore, what is? But David Otter's view, while it sounds more optimistic, it comes with its own really challenging question, and this one is aimed directly at you. I mean, it's great if new jobs pop up, but what if those new jobs require skills you just don't have? The future of work isn't just about the number of jobs. It's about your place in that new world. So this brings us down to a more pragmatic level. The impact of AI, it's not some predetermined fate. It's actually being shaped by the choices we're making right now, about what kind of tech we decide to build and how we decide to use it. Yeah, MIT economist Darren Acemoglu has this brilliant term for it, so-so automation. It's technology that's just good enough to replace a person, but not actually good enough to create massive new value or huge productivity gains. He argues that right now we're choosing to build this kind of replacement-focused AI, when we absolutely could be building AI that complements and empowers us instead. This is such a powerful metaphor from AI pioneer Andrew Ng. Think about it for a second. Electricity didn't just replace candles, right? It transformed everything. Manufacturing, communication, our daily lives. It created entirely new industries out of nowhere.
NG sees AI the exact same way, as a foundational utility that's going to become the bedrock for the next generation of everything.
And for a dose of skepticism from inside the field, we can turn to Yann LeCun, another giant of AI. He basically argues that all this fear about a robot rebellion is a complete distraction from the real issue. AI systems don't have desires or a will to power. The real danger, he says, is how humans use these powerful tools to consolidate their own power. The question isn't whether AI will replace us, but who will use AI to replace other people. So here it is. This is the whole spectrum we've just walked through. We've gone all the way from Bostrom's existential risk to Susskind's complete economic transformation, down to the more pragmatic views from Otter and Acemoglu, who see it as a story of coexistence and choice. And then finally you have LeCun, who sees it all as a tool for human power dynamics. The bottom line, there is no single consensus here. So, after going through all these expert theories, from the apocalyptic to the totally pragmatic, the focus, it starts to shift. It shifts away from what the technology is going to do to us to what we are going to do with the technology. The ball is well and truly in our court. And maybe this is the most honest way to think about it. AI isn't some alien force that's landed on Earth. It's a tool, a ridiculously powerful mirror that reflects and amplifies our own human tendencies, the good, the bad, and the ugly. The outcome isn't written in the code, it's written in us. And that leaves us with these critical choices. And these are not questions just for the tech geniuses. They're questions for all of us as citizens. The policies we're willing to support, the companies we choose to do business with, and, maybe most personally, the way we define our own value and our own skills. All of this is going to shape the world we live in alongside AI. So I'm going to leave you with this final thought. Take a moment and really think about it. If the routine, boring 80% of your job was just automated away, what is the essential human core that would be left? Because in a world where so many of us are afraid of being replaced, figuring out and then fighting for what is irreplaceable about us, well, that might just be the most important work of all.